seeded 22.5 pounds of Purple Bounty Vetch with 30 pounds of cereal rye and 6 pounds of actually red clover through an airplane in late August. We had some problems with establishment of these cover crops, but this field came through really well. And on the outside of this perimeter of this field, almost like a frame of a pitcher, we did tillage because we had too many weeds on the headlands and didn't get a good cover crop catch, didn't have that seed to soil contact that's required using the airplane. But actually the middle of the field turned out very well, so we kept that. So what we're going to show you, Gary and I, is the difference between the tillage and the no-till crimping of vetch and cereal rye, planting organic corn into that.
Here we're in the no-till portion of the field. You can see where the corn is coming up through the rye and vetch that was rolled down. One thing that happened this year, because of all the rain we've had since planting time, is the vetch has continued to grow. So there's a lot of vetch that's still coming. You also see the clover here that is coming through now, and there was very little of that visible earlier, but now that's really coming on strong because of the rain that we've had. The nice thing about that is the clover will stay short and really crowd out any other weeds that are trying to come through. You do see some bigger weeds that are out here, lamb's quarter, thistle, dandelions, things like that, and that's just going to be part of the experiment, I guess, to see how much that actually impacts the crop. As we look at this corn versus behind us the area that was tilled, you can see that that is a little bit taller and greener at this point. But the real question will be is come later in the summer, if it gets hot and dry, will this no-till hold on to the moisture and keep the corn going better as we get later in the season versus a tilled soil. So that's what the real experiment here.
Made some observations on the population and height, and this is about 5V5 corn, and this is in the tilled. We had about 39,000 population here. When we got into the no-till, we did the rye and vetch and seeded with plain and in the fall, and so this was just kind of an area where the rye didn't take, and we got about the same stand as we got with all the vetch. And if you go over here, you can see the vetch got pretty big. We rolled it once, crimped it, and it didn't kill it all, so we've still got some pretty good mat of vetch here. But the population, even with all that, is still at 36,000, so we didn't lose a whole lot compared from there to there. These are all in 15-inch rows, so we do a little bit higher population, and we do that in order to combat the weeds.
If we pull back some of the rye, we can look at the soil and see that underneath that there's basically no weeds sprouting at this point, maybe just a few little tiny ones, but the rye being rolled down is pretty effective at preventing any new weeds from sprouting there. All you see are a few little bits of clover and things like that. That's a lamb's quarter maybe that's trying to go. This one too, but he doesn't look too happy. He's kind of curled under and yellow and buried there. So we like to see that where the cover on top is keeping all those newer flushes of weeds from coming through. You can also see the rye, because of the moisture, but then also because of good biological activity, is starting to degrade. There's a little like mold along the rye right there. And as we get later into the summer, we want that to happen. We want to see the rye break down naturally because of the biological life, and eventually be real easy to tear up or seed into come fall for preparing for the next